Good evening. Good evening. How you guys doing out there? This Mike back with brother Jay, John Rogers,
Okay, man.
Soberheadz podcast. We on 12 and 12, the 12 traditions, 12 steps and 12 tradition book. And tonight we on step 10. We on step 10 when you do the daily inventory. How was your week, good brother?
It was good, man. The weather it's been raining every day in the south, but other than that, can't complain. Wifey had her last day of school on Wednesday, so
Lucky
life is
her,
good.
bro.
You
I
know what I
remember
mean?
when life used to be like that, when I had to get to that, wait for that last day. You couldn't wait for that, bro.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean.
As
I'm
a
in my
teacher,
last
bro.
class. As far as getting my degree of substance abuse and counseling. So
Check him out. And I thought about like really thinking about going that route, but y'all be having a lot of paperwork.
it's a lot of
Like,
people.
y'all paperwork joint be crazy. Y'all
A lot.
paperwork joint be crazy. Like I don't know about that. And paperwork joint and deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
Mad deadlines for reports. I don't know about that. I thought about it though. I ain't gonna lie. Like just saying like um the kind of impact that can be made, but I don't know about like that joint kind of different, man. So
Yeah.
tonight we got step 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. So when we get home at night, we supposed to go through. My thing went out. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. When we get home at night, we supposed to go through an inventory,
Mm-hmm.
like to really see how our day was, and if we hurt anybody or if we did something to anybody, then we supposed to like go and really apologize promptly. You know what I mean? So where you at when it comes to that kind of stuff, man?
I mean, that's how I live my life, man. And sometimes it hurts because I could be 100% right and feel like I'm right. You know what I mean? But just to make amends with people on a daily basis, so I can stay sober, is something that I take pride in, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Yeah, they say if you do a proper step 10 all the time, then you won't ever have to do another step 4, because you
Yeah.
ain't gonna have no people that you gotta go back and do all the process with if you do a proper step 10. You know what I'm
Oh, yeah.
saying? Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, I'm messing with this monitor thing. I had to re-download everything and do it over. It got like a different thing. I told you they got a new platform now. So
Oh,
I'm trying to get used to it. That's why I'm trying to get my voice right and stuff like that.
I'm
Yeah,
laughing because I got an eavesdropper on the, she want to know what's step 4.
yeah, that's that fearless moral inventory. So let's start from the top. I'll start reading, then we'll go from there. Be like, all right.
Yes, sir.
Um,
As we work the first 9 steps.
oh, hold on. I gotta go down. Trying to get to step 10 now. It says, as we work the first 9 steps, we prepare our lives for a new adventure of a new life. But when we approach step 10, we commence to put our AA way of life to practical use. Day by day, um, day by day in fair weather or foul. Then comes the acid test. Can we stay sober? Can keep an emotional balance and live to good purpose under all conditions? A continuous look at our assets and liabilities and our real desire to learn and grow by this means as necessities for us. We alcoholics have learned this the hard way. More experienced people, of course, in all times and places have practiced unsparing self-survey and criticism. For the wise have always known that no one can make much of his life until self-searching becomes a regular habit, until he is able to admit and accept what he finds, and until he patiently and persistently tries to correct what is wrong. I keep going down too far. What is wrong? When a drunk has a terrific hangover because he drank heavily yesterday, he cannot live well today. But there is another kind of hangover, which we'll all experience whether we are drinking or not. This is an emotional hangover, direct result of yesterday's and sometimes today's excesses of negative emotion, anger, fear, jealousy, and the like. If we would like serenely, serenely today and tomorrow, we certainly need to eliminate these hangovers. This doesn't mean that we need to wander morphily around in the past. It requires an admission and correction of errors now. Our inventory enables us to settle with the past. When this is done, we are really able to leave it behind us. When our inventory is correctly taken, we have made peace with ourselves. The conviction follows that tomorrow's challenges can be met as they come. What you got for that so far, bro? Oh, he's not even on here. What happened to him?
When you try to,
Hello?
yeah, I had to
Hello?
go on my phone. It's
Oh,
a
that joint was
little
bugging out.
storm.
Oh, y'all about to have
Yeah,
a
it's
storm
storming
down there?
down here.
Oh yeah. I could pretty. Yeah, that's why I was asking you what was going on down there. Yeah, it looked like your joint. It looked like your Wi-Fi messing up down there, joint. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. You good? Is it good on the phone?
Nah,
Yeah, I
it's
can hear
still
you. Can
like
you hear me?
it's still like frozen. It's still like frozen. Probably because your Wi-Fi bad down there
Hold on.
from the storm.
Hold on 1 second.
All right. Yeah, your joint super froze now. Hello. Hello. Yo,
Yo,
can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
You good on your end?
Yeah,
Or is this
yeah,
or
it
is
should be
this
good.
still bad down there?
It's a nice. It's gonna come on and off, but it'll be good.
All right. So I just started reading the what's the name the first 3 pages,
Mhm.
and what you got for that joint so far?
Uh, I put in fair weather or foul. You know what I mean? So like, you got to make
Mm,
plans on good days and bad days. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things that does for me, it doesn't keep me comfortable. You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
like if I'm only, it's like prayer. If I'm only going to God when I need something, then how strong is my prayer life? You know what I'm saying? Like, if
Mm,
I can't go to God in good times and bad times, then you know,
mm-hmm.
what's my journey like? You know what I mean? So I take the same approach with my, making a daily amends. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
some days are going to be
mm-hmm.
better than others. You know what I mean? But it's the same behavior and the same pattern that I have to have for myself to, to remain sober. You know what I'm saying? So even though today was a great day, that don't mean that I still don't have to make a daily amends with, the people that I did wrong. So,
What was the last time you had to really be at home and think about something you did and really reach out to somebody?
I mean, to be honest, on a daily basis, sometimes it's really the person that's sitting next to me as far as my wife.
You know that. You know
You know what I mean? So,
that. You
because
know that.
sometimes,
Besides her, because that's a given. Because we always got to make that call. I mean, like, but so
besides that,
besides
I
the
mean,
wife
it's
at home.
always
All
like,
right.
you know me, like I said, in the basketball world, everybody think they know better. They know more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I find myself going back and forth with people. So, sometimes I just, even though they're wrong, just for my peace,
He said even though they wrong.
I'm just going to make amends with that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, the
Indeed.
old saying, if you like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, when it comes to my
Yeah.
sobriety, I tell people all the time, like, they be like, yo, why you calling? Because this is what I got to do for me. You know what I mean? Like,
Talk about it. Talk
that's
about
it.
it.
You know what I mean? So even though you might feel I did you wrong, or, you know what I mean? Like, I know as my, how I believe and how I function in the world today, nothing comes before my sobriety. And anything that's,
Mm.
anything could be a trigger. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
doubt. You know what I'm saying? Them voices in your head. You know what I mean? The only way I know to silence those voices is to face them head on. You know what I'm saying? So.
Mm-hmm. 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 With me, man, I had a situation where like me and my wife, the last thing that happened with me was me and my wife had went down to Trenton to do a ministry, you know what I mean? And then we came around the corner and it was the brothers and sisters from the church I used to go to. You know what I mean? And I told you about this joint, man.
Yeah.
And one of the brothers stayed behind and then he came up to us and was talking to me and stuff like that. And I didn't greet him properly, man. I didn't greet him in the spirit of Christ. You know what I mean? I had some resentment on how everything ended where I was at and stuff like that. So I didn't greet him properly on the way that I did. And that joint ate at me for a couple of days. I didn't think it would. That joint ate at me, man. And then I called the brother and we had a conversation, you know what I'm saying? But that's why I'm saying it's a blessing to have the Holy Spirit, and it's a blessing to be in a program like that where we could go to those steps and understand that we have those tools now and understand that that's the right thing to do. And don't get caught up in your pride and your anger and your ego. Like, I ain't got to say nothing to nobody, this and this and blah, blah, blah. You know how that is, you know what I'm saying? So and then also too, I wanted that feeling to pass. So if I ever ran across him again, I wouldn't have those same feelings. You understand what I'm saying? Like I didn't want to have those same feelings if I saw him again. So when you in that kind of situation, the best thing to do is to tackle it head on and at that time. You know what I mean? I waited a couple of days, so I'm obviously getting better at it, and I'll continue to get better. But we got to be able to tackle that kind of stuff, man, and hit it head on, and that's how we get past it, man. You know what I mean? I had stopped that where it says tomorrow challenges that come, so you could pick up where it says although all inventories.
Although all inventories are alike. That part?
Yeah.
Okay. Although all inventories are alike in principle, the time factor does distinguish one from another. They're the spot check inventory taken at any time of the day whenever we find ourselves getting tangled up. They're the one we take at day's end when we review the happenings of the hours just past. Here we cast up a balance sheet crediting ourselves with things well done and chalked up debts where due. Then there are those occasions when alone or in company of our sponsors or spiritual advisors, we make a careful review of our program since the last time. Many AA go in for annual or sub-annual house cleanings. Many of us also like the experience of an occasional retreat from the outside world where we can quiet down for an understanding day or so of self-overhauling and meditation.
Yo, have you ever been on one of those retreats?
What it is for me, I haven't been on one of the retreats, but I do like the self, if they want to call it like spring cleaning, or like we call it detoxing in the alcoholic world. Like I detox from society for a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? A certain amount of days. You know what I mean? It might be no phone. It might be no television, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, sometimes it ain't even no wife, no kids, so it's kind of hard. You know what I mean? Like, you know
what I want to do, bro? Real rap. One of the goals that I got is I want to get 8 to 10 brothers, and we go somewhere. We go to a hotel for the weekend, or like one of the retreat places, and we take that green. Everybody partner up with one person while we there, and we take that green book and start on a Friday. And go through that book, and then you pick the person that you trust the most to do that step 4 and 5 while we on that trip. You know what I mean? And then and then do that joint. I just wanted to just experience something like that. You know what I mean? Of course, we'll make sure that we got meals and stuff each day. You know what I mean? We could have do some exercise in the morning, just you know what I mean, just a whole type of retreat like that.
Yeah.
But the principle would be that green book that we went through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just for the weekend, I think that'd be dope. Something like that, bro.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So what you got what you got next?
Aren't these, you want me to continue to read?
Yeah.
Aren't these practices joy killers as well as time consuming? Must AA spend most of their waking hours daily rehashing their sins of omission or commissions? Well, hardly. The emphasis on inventory is heavy only because a great many of us have never really acquired the habit of accurate self-appraisal. Once this healthy practice has become grooved, it will be so interesting and profitable that the time it takes won't be missed. For those minutes and sometimes hours spent in self-examination are bound to make all others hours of our day better and happier. And at length, our inventories become a regular part of everyday living rather than unusual or set apart. Before we ask what a spot check inventory is, let's look at the kind of setting in which such an inventory can do its work.
Like when I be thinking about that, like during the day, things happen, man, and I get into situations with my students, I get into situations with coworkers, I get in situations with adult clients, conversations, this and that. I'm constantly, when I'm done with the conversation, thinking about that. Like, did I handle that right? What could I have done different? You get what I'm saying? And you'll be surprised, especially with kids, like kids be so amazed when an adult apologizes, because that's something that they rarely see. You get what I'm saying? And but you have to demonstrate the behavior that you want them to follow. You know what I mean? So so if I did something wrong or anything like that, I would go to them and apologize to them. You know what I'm saying? Or to another client or to a coworker or anything like that. Because it's that feeling inside, that gut wrenching feeling of knowing like, yo, you wrong. One instance I had prejudged the kid because he was from like a suburban town when he came in. And I was just like, yo, why you be acting like this and like that, and knowing like you basically living good. But when he told his story, he ended up in that town. That's not where he was really from. So I had to go to him, man, and apologize to him, but that made us closer. And he taught me a lesson to hear somebody's story first, hear a kid's story first before I go on thinking that I know, just assuming who they are. You know what I mean? But that's comes from learning in this process and being able to do that, man. What about you?
I mean, it's funny when we talk about recovery and we go through the steps, and you know, most of the meetings that I go to, they always end with like people, places, and things. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to daily inventory, like behaviors are like mimics, they rhymes. You know what I mean? Like songs for me, like you know what I mean? Like, so I know if I'm going through something, I'm like people, places, and things. So when it came to my daily inventory, I had to replace people, places, and things with thoughts, emotions, and actions. You know what I mean?
I like
it goes back to what you just said. You judged the book by its cover. You thought this kid was, from a different place. You know what I mean? And that opened up your emotions. You know what I'm saying? And then the actions was, whatever occurred. You know what I'm saying? And then you take it back to the positive now, like, hey man, this kid, his emotion was like, hey man, let me open up to you so I can tell you how I really am, which showed a lot of action and courage from him, you know what I'm saying? Which in response made you look at him different, you know what I'm saying? So like, like I said, that daily inventory is the thoughts, you know what I mean? Like, it's like when we do the podcast. Sometimes we like, hey man, we're gonna do it at 6, we're gonna do it at 7, or sometimes
Yeah,
the computer going act, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, my
The
joint was
devil gonna
bugging
come
yesterday.
at yeah, the
Yeah.
devil gonna come any kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, hey man, I'm going to a basketball game tonight. I'm like, why you want to go to a basketball game and not do the podcast? Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, so
yeah,
that's what I got for
yeah,
that.
indeed. It says, it is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with us. Let me read that again because this is very
Yeah,
important. It is a
yeah,
spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with us. If somebody hurts us and we are sore, we are in the wrong also. But are there no exceptions to this rule? What about justifiable anger? If somebody cheats us, aren't we entitled to be mad? Can't we be properly angry with self-righteous folks? For us of AA, these are dangerous exceptions. We have found that justified anger ought to be left to those better qualified to handle it. Few people have been more victimized by resentments than have we alcoholics. It mattered little whether our resentments were justified or not. A burst of temper could spoil a day, and a well-nursed grudge could make us miserably ineffective. Nor were we even skillful in separating justified from unjustified anger. As we saw it, our wrath was always justified. Anger, that occasionally luxury of more balanced people, could keep us on the emotional jack indefinitely. This emotion drive benders often led straight to the bottle. Other kinds of disturbances, jealousy, envy, self-pity, and hurt pride did the same thing. Bro, I definitely went through this, man. Once I left, man, and that brother lied to me and lied on me in that church, bro. I was so hot at first, and I had that, and I felt that it was justifiable anger, but a conversation with one of my students again changed my thought process, man. You know what I mean? She was telling me she was upset. She had a bad weekend because somebody lied on her.
Yeah.
Or lied to her. And I told her, they didn't lie to you because it was you. They lied to you because they was a liar.
Yeah.
And while I'm saying it to her, the Holy Spirit convicted me. Like, you're not even following your own advice. You know what I'm saying? So I had to understand, anytime I'm mad at a person, is something wrong with me also, because I expect that person to be something that they're not.
Yeah.
And when they don't live up to my expectations, I got a problem. So it's not them having a problem, it's me having a problem. They're just being who they are at the moment. And when I can't accept them for who they are at the moment, I get upset because I want to control their behavior. I want to control what they saying. I want to control how they acting. I want to control what they doing. I want to control how they feel. And I can't do none of that. You know what I mean? That was a tough thing to learn about, that acceptance thing, man. What you got for that?
I mean, it goes back to being a believer. You know what I mean? Like, I believe in, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. You know what I mean? Like, when the Spirit leads you, is, there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? But in that same sentence, it's like when we pray for something, we want it on our terms. You know what I'm saying? Like,
facts.
Financial blessing, I want that financial blessing now. If I'm praying for, healing, I want that healing right now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You have the patience to, let it go up and let God send it down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The same thing comes when we deal with anger. You know what I mean? Like, the Bible says, vengeance will be the Lord. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when somebody does you wrong, I believe it's human nature sometimes to feel like you have to, seek revenge or, even go back at that person with some kind of answer. You know what I'm saying? And nowadays I try, God's still working on me, but I've tried to just, I'm serious, man, because part of the hardest part of being is staying in recovery and being sober is, your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's what the real work is.
If you lose your mind, then you lose your sobriety. I mean, I'm only talking for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. No, you're 100% right. But that's where the real work at, in the mind.
You know what I'm saying? Because now, once I start realizing I didn't have to please nobody, you know what I mean? Like, hey, man, like I said, JJ Hoops was JJ Hoops. You know what I mean? Who I gotta please? I don't gotta please nobody now. You know what I mean? Like I said, I done did everything from a basketball standpoint that basketball could do for somebody. You know what I'm saying? I
Facts.
touch people, places, and things that I never thought I would ever touch in
Yeah,
a
you're
million
right
years.
about that.
You know what I mean?
You're
Like
right
the
about
fact
that.
people, like, I look at the president on television every time he speaks, realizing I can say to myself, as a black man, I was a keynote speaker at Trump National Golf Course. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there like, yo, I don't care what this man did or what he do. At that particular moment, it was a chance for me to talk about, where God has brought me from. You know what I'm saying?
Always,
And it's
indeed.
funny because even in our deepest hour, the foundation was always there. We were taught how to go to church. You know what I'm saying? And then we had to find out on our own what church really meant. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the same thing with, doing the steps. You know what I mean? Like, and we keep talking about the same word coming up with these patterns and behaviors. You know what I'm saying? They're learned. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody. I learned how to drink from my parents. You know what I mean? Because that's what I saw them do. You know what I mean? I learned how to go to church from my parents because that's how that's what I saw them do. But at some point, I had to become my man and pray my faith and have my beliefs and stand firm to what I believe versus letting somebody else make decisions and judgments for me. You know what I'm saying? So
you dropping right now, brother.
Yeah.
Dropping that joint. It says a spot check inventory taken in the midst of disturbances can be a great help in quiet and storm emotions. Today's spot check finds a chief application to situations which arise in each day's march. The consideration of long-standing difficulties had better be postponed when possible, to times deliberately set aside for that purpose. The quick inventory is aimed at our daily ups and downs, especially those where people and new events throw us off balance and tempt us to make mistakes. In all these situations, we need restraint, honest analysis of what is involved, and a willingness to admit that fault is ours, and an equal willingness to forgive when the fault is elsewhere. We need not to discourage when we fall in error of our old ways, for these disciplines are not easy. We shall look for progress, not for perfection. Wow. Yeah, now that's when I could take it to, like, in a household, sometimes you disagree and stuff. And then now I understand of just like, man, that I'll be walking all the time. I just take a long walk and it gives me a time to really think about stuff and reflect. And then ask myself, like, what is the greater good in this situation? Do I need to be right? Do I need to push the envelope? Is it a teaching moment for me? Is it a teaching moment that I'm supposed to be teaching her? So that's the things that come up now, and that's coming from doing this work and really trying to be an example, because it's the head of the house. You got to be the example. If you're going all crazy and in a rampage, then the house is going to be wild, because if the head is off, then the whole body is done, man. The whole body is sick as the head is off. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that we had these principles that we have now, man. What you got for that?
I mean, I go back to the mind again. This, for me, it's a daily spot inventory check. You know what I mean? And that spot inventory check starts with choosing peace over replaying the hurt in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Okay, yeah, I go back to your situation. You go around the corner, you see the brothers, you don't speak, then you go back and you apologize. But what happens is you replay that situation over and over again in your mind, and you like, what could I have done, or what should I have done? You know what I'm saying? And it starts to become a problem. Like, now it's like, wait, I gotta hurry up and get this resolved, when I could have resolved it right then and there. You know what I mean? Not realizing sometimes, the Holy Spirit silences our tongue sometimes, because at that particular moment, you probably wouldn't have said what you wanted to say, and it wouldn't have been the right thing to say. You know what I'm saying?
I spoke and shook his hand, but the feeling I had inside me wasn't genuine. It wasn't genuine love. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Sometimes that's the Holy Spirit protecting us, from ourselves. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Everything doesn't need a response. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm still learning on that, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, especially in this basketball world. You know what I mean? Like, if you know the blueprint and the blueprint don't change, and we've been around the game and we've been, like I said, on platforms, and you know what I mean, saw kids, and we know the best eighth grader should be in the 11th grade. Like, don't talk to me about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we know the deal with the speaker companies and everything else. Like, come on, man. You know, so sometimes you're hurting people. The truth hurts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Sometimes
indeed.
it hurt people's feelings, man.
Indeed. It says, our first objective will be the development of self-restraint. This carries a top priority rating. When we speak or act hastily or rashly, the ability to be fair-minded and tolerant evaporates on the spot. One unkind tyrant or one willful snap judgment can ruin our relation with another person for a whole day or maybe a whole year. Nothing pays off like restraint of tongue and pen. We must avoid quick-tempered criticism and furious, power-driven argument. The same goes for sulking or silent scorn. There are emotional booby traps baited in with pride and vengefulness. And our first job is to sidestep the traps. When we are tempted by the bait, we should train ourselves to step back and think. For we can neither think nor act to good purpose until the habit of the self-restraint has become automatic. Now, this was key to me because once I left the church that I was at, it was a lot of people that left at the same time, and people were going on different podcasts talking about their experience and what happened and this and that. But I didn't decide to do that because I didn't want to talk about something while I was still feeling some kind of way, and then a year later or 6 months later regret having that conversation at that time. You know what I mean? I wanted to let everything die down and so I could be in a proper spirit when I finally had a conversation that I need to have, because you got to have the time to think everything through. You got to have time to let everything develop. You got to have time to let that spirit in. You got to have time to let the Most High work on you. So then when you come out with the what you need to say about your experience, the Holy Spirit will truly be speaking through you, and you won't be speaking from a place of hurt. You'll be speaking from a healed place, and then you'll have a different perspective on what your experience was. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
100%.
It's a thin line with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the church. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we think about the body of the church, you know what I mean? You got the pastor on the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the pastor, he eating the best. He eat the first. He drive the best car. You know what I'm saying? He got the big house. He got everything that, you know, what a pastor should have. But who says a pastor should have all that when we follow Jesus and Jesus ain't have none of that? You know what I'm saying? So then we start to worship the pastor more than we start to worship the word. You know what I mean?
Talk about it.
That becomes the high again. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that high to be right. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I know I wanted to say something, you know, to, you know, a coach, a teacher, you know, a police officer or a judge or anybody else, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that action, it just opens a can of worms for somebody to react in a way that you really didn't have to go or deal with if you would have just stayed silent at that time. You know what I mean? So that's why I said sometimes we breathe life into problems and situations because of the time. We keep talking about, you know, it talked about time in the first couple pages. You know what I mean? Do you have the time to sit there and go through everybody in your life that you made or did harm to and apologize to? Do you have that time? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you have that time?
You got a point.
Yeah. I mean, so time makes a difference. You know what I mean? And that's good and bad. Time makes a difference in the time that we entertain the BS and we don't entertain the BS. You know what I'm saying? I feel as if when we don't entertain it, it's good. You know what I'm saying? When we do entertain it, it just prolongs the situation where you don't even have to address it. Because if I have an issue with you and you have an issue with me, and I'm not saying anything to you, and then you come to me and like, Jay, man, remember when you did XYZ, right? I have the choice whether I want to respond or not. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. That's what I got for that.
The thing about it though is like where the blessing come in is that if you want to get tested in an area like this, have a kind of job that I have when I'm dealing with 30 teenagers who, not all of them, but some of them live for the moment to try to get a response out of you. So they trying to press all types of buttons. They try because they just want that back and forth. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of attention they want today. I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm gonna keep messing with this joker until he feed into me and we could go at it a little bit. So when you in there and you could deal with them and not take it to that level, that's building up the tolerance. So when you're dealing with an adult, it ain't even that serious because them kids will keep going until they try to get you. You know what I mean? And it says, disagreeable or unexpected problems are not the only ones that call for self-control. We must be quiet and careful when we begin to achieve some measure of importance and material success. For no people have ever loved personal trumps more than we have loved them. We drank of success as of wine, which could never fail to make us feel elated. When temporary good fortune came our way, we indulged ourselves in fantasies of still greater victories over people and circumstances. Woo. Thus, blinded by prideful self-confidence, we were apt to play the big shot. Of course, people turned away from us, bored or hurt. Wow, what you got for that, Art?
I mean, playing the big shot. You know what I mean? Like it's it's for real. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like I said, when I made it, I was sitting there like, "Hey, I'm the big shot. I'm the black man." That's coaching all these white kids. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
And now it's like everybody wants a piece of me, and I'm sitting there in the worlds of, you know, the Lloyd Daniels and the Lauren Jacksons, and I'm like, "Yo, dog, they can't touch me." You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't even trying to waste my time playing with these cats. You know what I'm saying? And then once they got to the point where they started to catch up, it was like, all right, well, what happened to all that stuff you was talking? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you had to eat that humble pie. You know what I'm saying? And then it goes back to one of my favorite scriptures: to whom much is given, much is required. You know what I'm saying? So I remember what it took for me to be the best that I could be in the basketball world. You know what I'm saying? And it came with a lot of things I didn't agree with. You know what I'm saying? And then I know what it is for me to stay sober. So now I'm like, hey, man, what's more important than me being sober? Nothing in this world. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I said, I just thank God for the journey. And the scary part is the people knew our attitude too. Like, me and you probably one of the most, they talk about Michael Jordan being competitive, man. Me and you probably
we was
competitive jokers in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Super competitive.
Competitive in a sense of having a conversation.
Indeed. I wanted to win. Now that we're in AA and sober and winning back the esteem of our friends and business associates, we find that we still need to exercise special vigilance. As an insurance against big shotism, we can often check ourselves by remembering that we are today sober only by the grace of God, and that any success we may be having is far more His than ours. That's why anybody give me any compliments, I say all praises to the Most High, bro. I gotta say all praises to the Most High, man.
I don't know how you feel, but I want to just ask you a question of how you experienced dealing with the popularity of you being sober. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do people take that? Some people may take it good, some people take it bad. You know, then when we talk about the religious side about it, of how hard you go for your faith, like, do you feel that could be intimidating to some of our peers or some of the people that we used to run with? Like, how do you, how would you?
100%. Carnally, it's definitely gonna be intimidating because that's why to me it's easier to be able to tell a stranger about God than somebody you knew all your life, because they're gonna still have you stuck as that person that you used to be.
Yeah.
In their minds. You get what I'm saying? So the way that my therapist told me was like I went from one extreme to the whole other extreme.
Yeah.
After that trip to rehab, she said she been doing therapy for years and she never had a client that changed like that. So when you do that kind of change, it's gonna affect people different, and some of the people are gonna feel some kind of way because maybe they want to change, but they didn't had the experience that you had, or they don't have the courage to really go out there and do it, or they ain't have that gift of desperation that pushed them over the top. And then it's gonna be strange when people see you moving like that and they remember who you were. But the crazy part is you'll get more flack from that from some people than when you was out there drinking, smoking, fornicating, adultery, you know what I mean? But for the most part, I'm not gonna lie, like it's a nice amount of people that I know that's happy for my transformation. So I can't say everybody is coming like that because they're not, but there's some people that be close to you that be more affected than what you believe. You get what I mean? And you got to always remember that people are always watching you. You got some people that's watching you because they want to see you fall. And then when you fall, then they'll come to you and say, yo, you was doing such a good job. What happened? But when you on the road doing the job, they don't say nothing to you. But when you fall, then they come and say, oh man, I used to look at your stuff every day and you was doing this and doing that. And then what happened? You fell off. You know what I mean? So, but then you got people that hit your inbox and be like, yo, bro, keep doing what you're doing. I'm watching you all the time. You got people that, you know what I'm saying, that come up and tell you, yo, I got sober just because I heard your story. And then you give all praises to the Most High. But it definitely varies. Now on the spiritual side, when you're dealing with, we got, those are the principalities that we fight. So when you arguing with somebody, it's not really you against them carnally, it's two spirits attacking. So spiritually, you just ain't gonna be able to rock with some people you that you was rocking with. Even they gonna tell you it's just something about you now. I can't rock with you. They don't even really know why. But it's the demons. You know what I mean? Those demons don't like your presence. Anytime you're around, even if you ain't saying nothing, people gonna say, yo, every time you come around, I feel like you judging me. You ain't even saying nothing. But just your presence around them makes them uncomfortable. You know what I mean? So that sorry for being long with it, but that comes along with it. You know what I mean? What you got? Why? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's something like you said. I mean, I always tell people, people pray for me when I couldn't pray for myself. You know what I'm saying? And there's some people who pray for me, they see the outcome and they're like, hey man, we're so happy that, you're doing better. And then the same people who pray for me, they still waiting for me to be like, oh man, he gonna fall and then we're gonna have to pick him up. And you know what I mean? Like, so it's that ongoing circle of, keeping the people around you that really care about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the people that really care about you, those are the people that, were there through the ups and the downs, that held you accountable no matter what you was going through, that always encouraged you to do better. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got a handful of people like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to be honest, like I said, regardless of, the situation at life, man, like I said, when it comes to my wife, bro, it's like any time, it'd be like, it'd be days where I'm like, I ain't doing a podcast today. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do this. She like, nah, I mean, she just said to me tonight, what do you mean? Ain't no podcast today? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
tell her what we got. Tell her we got two more after this. We gonna be on step 12. Two more. Two more.
Be one every day, man, because the message is, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, people need to hear the message. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like I tell people, like now I'm being along with it, but
that's cool.
I'll share this. So marriage is about knowing the person that you with. You know what I mean? Knowing the good and knowing the bad. You know what I'm saying? But the most important part of marriage is having that faith and that religion and that belief. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to realize, nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? The Bible tells us that all the time. We all fall short. You know what I mean? So like I said, when you get somebody that pushes you and holds you accountable and, wants what's best for you and just wants you to be the best version of you, you know what I mean? Not the best version of me for her, but the best version of me for everybody. You know what I mean? So like,
that's dope. That's dope, bro.
You gotta understand, man, like even with you, the fact that your wife allows you to, continue to go to meetings and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
follow you and continue to allow, you to lead her, that's
Mm-hmm.
deep. You know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. And we on this health journey. And that's so super dope. We eat the same stuff. We go exercise. We do all, you know what I mean? So it's like, and we believe in the same thing. We getting ready for the Sabbath together tonight. So that's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of it. It says, finally, we begin to see that all people, including ourselves, are to some extent emotionally ill, as well as frequently wrong. And then we approach true tolerance and see what real love for our fellows actually means. It will become more and more evident as we go forward that it is pointless to become angry or to get hurt by people who, like us, are suffering from pains of growing up. Wow. Such a radical change in our outlook would take time, maybe a lot of time. Not many people can truthfully assert that they love everybody. Most of us admit that we have loved but a few, that we have been quite indifferent to many so long as none of them gave us trouble. And for the remainder, well, we we have hold on, went down too far. And for the remainder, we have really disliked or hated them. Although these attitudes are common enough, we AAs find need find we need something much better in order to keep our balance. We can't stand it if we hate deeply. The idea that we could possessively loving of a few can ignore the many and continue to fear or hate anybody has to be abandoned, if only a little at a time. Yo, with me, bro, what I had to learn how to do is
Mm-hmm.
I had too much expectations of people. One of the biggest mistakes was when you are a caring person and you'll go hard for anybody and you expect them to be like that for you. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I made throughout my life, because everybody ain't gonna go hard for you like you would go for them. And it's cool because they not you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that kind of expectation that I had led to me having resentments towards people, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to apologize to them for that, because I shouldn't have been putting my expectations on them like that. You know what I mean? What you got for that?
I mean, when we talk about anger, man, you talk about, for me, it was like, it drains you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a lot of energy out of you. You know what I mean? Emotional energy, physical energy. You know what I'm saying? And then it also keep you stuck in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Why I got to keep going back and thinking about, what I did? You know what I'm saying? So like,
You dropping it tonight, brother.
you know what I'm saying? It it really never fixes the problem. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, if I punched you on your face and I say sorry, the fact still remain. I punched you on your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't take that back. You know what I mean? And sometimes with words, no matter how much we apologize, it still has that real feeling of doing, damage to somebody. You know what I mean?
Indeed. You could pick up. It says, where we at? It says, hold up. Well, we can try on page 93. We can try to stop.
We can try to stop making unreasonable demands upon those we love. We can show kindness where we have shown none. With those we dislike, we can begin to practice justice and courtesy, perhaps going out of our way to understand and help them. Whenever we fail any of these people, we can promptly admit it to ourselves always, and to them also, when the admission would be helpful. Courtesy, kindness, just, and love are the keynotes by which we may come into harmony with practically anybody. If we doubt, we can always pause saying, not my will, but thine be done. And we can often ask ourselves, am I doing to others as I would have them do to me today? When evening comes, perhaps just before going to sleep, many of us draw up a balance sheet for the day. This is a good place to remember that inventory taking is not always done in red ink. It's a poor day indeed when we haven't done something right. As a matter of fact, the waking hours are usually well filled with things that are constrictive. Good intentions, good thoughts, and good acts are there for us to see. Even when we have tried hard to, excuse me, even when we have tried hard and failed, we may chalk that up as one of the greatest credits of all. Under these conditions, the pain of failure are converted into assets.
Mm-hmm.
Out of them, we receive the stimulation we need to go forward. Someone who knew what he was talking about once remarked that pain was the touchstone of all spiritual progress.
Ooh.
How heartily we AA can agree with him, for we know that pain, the pain of drinking, had to come before sobriety and emotional turmoil before serenity.
Yeah, bro. That pain of hitting that bottom.
Yeah.
That pain of understanding, man. That pain of nowhere else to go but to God. That pain that they talking about, man. That
Yeah.
joint right there, deep, man. You know what I'm saying? That and having that inventory when you lay down and you thinking about that day, and now you can't even go to sleep till you send that text to apologize or call that person to apologize to that you did wrong. You know what I mean? Or me and my wife got to come in the same room and have that conversation, and I gotta eat that humble pie. That humble a humble pie, no joke. But we ain't gonna be able to have a good night's sleep if we don't.
Lacing it up. She be like, "Here, man, how you want it? You want it in the quarters?"
But you know you ain't gonna have a good night's sleep if you don't eat that humble pie. You're gonna be in the other room, and she gonna be in the other room, and neither one of y'all gonna be able to sleep. So you gotta come together and eat that humble pie. And the scriptures say, don't let the night fall on your being angry towards each other. You're not supposed to go to sleep like that, because when you wake up the next day, that anger then built, and then it's gonna be something totally different. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta spot check it and get it done that night and get it out the way. You know what I'm saying? It says, as we glance down the debit side of the day's ledger, we should carefully examine our motives in each thought or act that appears to be wrong. In most cases, our motives won't be hard to see and understand. When prideful, angry, jealous, anxious, or fearful, we acted accordingly, and that was that. Here we need to only recognize that we did act or think badly. Try to visualize how we might have done better and resolve with God's help to carry these lessons over in tomorrow, making, of course, any amends that we neglected. Yeah, we got to go down and look at everything to see what we did and what we could have did different. But in other instances, only the closest scrutiny will reveal what our true motives were. There are cases where our ancient enemy, rationalization, has stepped in and just justified the conduct which was really wrong. The temptation here is to imagine that we had good motives and reasons where we really didn't. When constructively criticize someone who needed it, when our real motive was to win a useless argument, or the person concerned not being present, we thought we were helping others to understand him, when actuality our true motives was to feel superior by pulling him down. We sometimes hurt those we love because they need to be taught a lesson, when we really want to punish. When we depressed and complained, we felt bad, when in fact we were mainly asking for sympathy and attention. Wow. This trait of mind and emotion, this perverse wish to hide a bad motive underneath a good one, permeates human affairs from top to bottom. This subdued and elusive kind of self-righteousness can underlie the smallest act or thought. Learning daily to spot, admit, and correct these flaws is the essence of character building and good living. An honest regret for harms done is a genuine gratitude for blessings received, and a willingness to try for the better things tomorrow will be the permanent assets we shall seek. Having considered our day, not omitting to take due note of things well done, and having searched our hearts with neither fear nor favor, we can truly thank the Most High for the blessings we have received and slept in good conscience. So, in closing, man, the question I got for you is like, being that your wife seen you through all of these stages and see the man that you are right now, your wife and your kids and your grandkids. I mean, for some of them probably, they don't know who you were before, but your kids and your wife, like, what do they say to you about the transformation?
Well, for my wife, it's, thank the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always, prayer and, accountability. You know what I'm saying? With my kids, sometimes it's a little like misunderstanding. You know what I mean? Like, they like, wait a second, Dad, you ain't, like, this ain't you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then, as far as, teaching them about forgiveness and teaching them about making amends and, teaching them about God, versus, half their life that I was, sober, and, just not being a good example. You know what I mean? Like, so what I would really say is, like, we have an open relationship as far as we are brutally honest with our kids. You know what I'm saying? We don't sugarcoat it. You know what I mean? We don't say like, oh, we was this. No, this is exactly who we were. You know what I mean? This is why we did X, Y, Z. This is how the Lord has, saved us, and this is why we live how we live. You know what I mean? Like, there was a time where I grew up and my mom and my dad, they would let anybody come and stay with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't let everybody in my house, though. You know what I mean? Like, and I try to explain that and teach that to my kids. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when you let people into your house, they bring their problems with them as well. You know what I mean?
And they bring them spirits. Yeah.
So I mean, my wife was there and at my rock bottom. You know what I'm saying? And she prayed me out. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, trying not to reach rock bottom. You know what I mean? So, and now that we here, it's like, hey, we try to be an example of what it is to have God in your marriage, what it is to not tell everybody your business. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, not being ashamed of what we are and who we are. You know what I mean? So that's why it's easy to come on a podcast and tell everybody, what I've done in the past and how great God has been to me and my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to walk away from something that I truly love, which was, like I said, which is the game of basketball. You know what I mean? To do God's will, or to be so close to, getting a degree and substance and abuse. You know what I mean? Like, who would have thought? You know what I mean? This is something that I wouldn't have never thought I would be doing. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes,
dope, bro.
Like I said, it starts with a conversation, with a phone call from you about almost 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Then these phone calls.
Oh, praise to the Most High, man.
To books, you know what I mean? Like, I always laugh because I call it the Mike Melton collection. You know what I'm saying? Like, we laugh and joke, and like I said, me and my wife, we always pillow talking, and like, sometimes it's like, hey man, Mike Melton this, Mike Melton that. I'm sitting there like, but you talking good. You're not talking about hey man, me and Mike going to the Dominican Republic, or me and Mike basketball tournament.
Man.
Me and Mike, we want to break down this video. So in closing, like, I agree with you. I think a perfect thing to do is to have those 2 trips. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, 3 trips. You know what I mean? Like, get 8 married brothers. You know what I mean? Or 8 brothers that's, you know what I'm saying? And, the men go off for the weekend, the women go off for the weekend, and then you come back and you do a couples retreat. You know what I mean? Like,
facts.
I mean, like, it don't have to be fancy or real expensive. You know what I mean? TD Jakes or anybody to come in.
nah, we don't need that.
I need a real person that went through something real, that's not trying to get out of it, and that's just trying to go back into the people so that they understand that you don't get a reward for doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna make it my business to put that joint together. We're gonna definitely put that joint together.
I'm telling you, 1, for the brothers, I'm there for the brothers. 2, if you go on the couple week, me and my wife is definitely.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I want to do that. I mean, with me, my wife told me today about how proud she was of my transformation and what the Most High being like doing with me. You know what I'm saying? And I owed her a lot with her. She had to go through a lot with with pause and our emotions and just being fresh in sobriety and going through the ups and downs and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know what I'm saying? The stuff we went with the church we was at and all that different stuff. But she a rider. That's why she right here with me. You know what I mean? And that's what I always wanted. Like somebody, no matter what we going through, like they're gonna be right there. Because it's not about the image, it's about like really rocking with you and being down, you know what I mean? So now as I get off, I'm about to get ready, clean up right before the Shabbat come in, you know what I mean? And then we're gonna get ready for the Sabbath and chill out the night and watch some stuff, you know what I mean, and really bring in the Sabbath what the Most High want us to do. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean, it's been good, bro. We got 2 more to go. You know what I mean? So we got 2 more to go. When is the Knicks plan, bro? So I can schedule this around the joint.
Well, I will tell you this on public records. I will tell you during the finals, ain't no podcast, bro.
No, I'm talking about they ain't playing every day.
Nah, their first game is June 3rd.
Yeah. Hold up, we might be done by then. Hold up, what's today? The what's the name?
How we gonna be done? We still got 12 principles to go through, man.
No. Them traditions super long. We might do the next thing we'll do next year. We'll go do the 12 steps in the big book. Because we ain't never do the big book.
Bro, it's funny, man. I jumped on a meeting today out of New York.
Word?
Yeah, 7:00 this morning, man. It is funny because it takes you back to like that first day in a meeting, man.
Yep. That's why that Zoom thing is dope to be able to do it like that. Yeah, and you get see how different people do their meetings and
the recovery is still happening every day, man.
100%. So I'm gonna pray us out, man. But y'all, thank you for bringing me and Jay on here tonight, Father. If it's your will, have this message touch somebody out there, Father. And if they need any help, give them the courage to be able to contact one of us and give us the wisdom to point them in the direction you want them to go. All these blessings we ask in your son Christ's name we pray. Amen. All right, brother. I'll holler at you, man.
All right, man. Game 7 tomorrow. OKC.
I got you.
Hey, I want to see the Knicks win, but I don't want to see the OKC